Good evening, everyone. That was a bit weird. That was a bit of a delayed reaction. If you were watching it live on the camera, then it was black screens and no faces. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Squared Circle podcast, the UK's number one pro wrestling podcast, wrestling chat for wrestling fans. Andy here, of course, joined as always by my new team of tag team partners. Joining me to my right is Stefan Bennett. Stefan, how you doing?
Woo! Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you.
Okay. And joining us down below, looking up as he should be, even though he's my boss in Pro Wrestle Dorset, it is, of course, the owner of PWD. More news on that coming later tonight. It's Sam Mello. Sam, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm really good. I'm really good. Ready
Right.
for tonight.
How many times are we going to have that?
I think we should actually maybe have a counter in the corner. When it comes to SummerSlam, I think that would be broken. I am in waiting of my LA Knights t-shirt that is coming through the post. So, yes.
Yeah.
And I'll be wearing that every week. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Right. Good doing the show. We will see you next week. So long. Farewell. Now, very quickly, if you've wondered where we've been for the past couple of weeks, well, it's a very good question. And then let's give you the breakdown. The last show we did was 2 weeks ago. It was Forbidden Door review, and it was also Money in the Bank preview, because that weekend, Money in the Bank was taking place at the O2 here in the UK. Now, we haven't been back on since, and that's partly because of me. So, as some of you will know, I have suffered from depression and various other things. I've had an attack. It's come back and creeped its ugly head. So I've not been very well. So I'm doing okay now, but I just had to have some time away, and also I got a new job just to add to the pressures. So yeah, things have been a bit manic. So I had to take some time for myself. Hence, no show. We don't get paid for this. This is purely a hobby. So I took some time out, but there are no shows. But we are back now, and we will be back for the foreseeable future. Whether or not we're live, don't know. I'm having a lot of building work done at the back of the house, as you can tell. I'm now inside, not outside, like I was last time. But what it has done is it's allowed us to look at the format of the show and make some changes. Now, the first change that we can now officially say is welcome to Sam, who is joining us as a co-host of the show. So, Sam, welcome to TSC properly, not just a guest anymore. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, really buzzing. Thank you very much. I am, as you can guys see, I've got my little minion with me, my little Betsy. That's another reason why I've not been available the last 2 weeks. I've just become a dog dad for the second time. I'm the self-proclaimed dog father of professional wrestling. So I've been crazy with that, but it's amazing to be part of this team. It was lovely being a guest. It's now even more amazing about being part of the team. Yeah.
Oh God, that's number two. You do have, I know this for a fact, a lot of ideas for going forward on the show. So I'm sure some of them will be coming in. In fact, some of them started coming in tonight, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But talking about that, we do have new segments on the show. Some of them are going to be old favorites, but repackaged, and some of them are going to be brand new. So we're going to be kicking off tonight with a new format. Going to be kicking off with Event Center. We'll explain more about how this is going to work, because you might be sat there going, well, hang on a minute. Event Center is where you do a pay-per-view preview or a prediction, right? Not necessarily anymore. We'll talk more about that. We're also going to be debuting Road to 5-Star. Now, Road to 5-Star, we'll talk more about that when we get to it in the end, but that is replacing Top Picks. So anyone who wants to get the violins out and do a sermon for the loss of Top Picks, please do now.
I think Sam's doing just doing it too much justice just by that minute little violin.
Thanks, Sam.
World's smallest violin.
Just want to to jet when Sam's like just explaining about becoming a dog father and whatnot. Some people may have been aware of this, and I'll get this off my chest now. Is unfortunately last week I had to announce my retirement from professional wrestling. I had physio beginning of last week. It didn't go very, very well. I've got potential prolapse discs in my back. I've actually got a full assessment tomorrow, but they've turned around and said to me that I'm pretty much done. So Kieran Cross, the manager and whatnot, is on the back burner for the foreseeable. Definitely, if it'll ever resurface or whatever is another matter. I don't know. Unlikely, but I just want to thank everyone, UKPW for starters. Anton Green, the original owner, Alex Gilbert, and Jack Fenton, who own it now, for all the opportunities, given me my so many fantastic memories and opportunities that I've had. Got great memories through there, and also EWE as well for allowing the Kieran Cross gimmick to finally make his appearance and reign some terror for a little while. So yeah, it's at the moment. It's that's it. It's the end of the road for that for me. But I hope one day I'll be in a better physical as well as mental place to be able to bring Kieran Cross back and seriously terrorize some promotions. I just wanted to get just to put that out there for those who didn't know, and again, just thank everyone for being a part of the journey. It's been amazing.
Wow, sorry to hear that, but obviously all things, happen for a reason, and onwards and upwards.
Absolutely.
For you. Okay, let's do it. That's all the drama out the way. Let's get to it. Let's kick off right now how we're going to mean to. This is Event Center. All right, so Event Center is different from now. Each host has chosen one match from this past week in professional wrestling to break down and talk about in more detail. We're going to be finding out why we picked the match. Was it because of the storytelling? Was it the in-ring action? And what was the impact on the overall level of professional wrestling? So let's go to Sam first of all. So Sam, which match did you pick?
I picked the Owen Hart tournament final for the men, and that was CM Punk versus Ricky Stark. I believe he's known as Absolute Ricky Stark. I thought it was an amazing match. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched it, but where have you been for this last week? And we're talking about it now, so sorry. Ricky Starks won. Completely blew me out the water. I thought it was going to be a CM Punk win. I thought it was set to be a CM Punk win, but no, it was Ricky. I loved it. The way it was put together was amazing. And I found out today it was produced and coached round the same match as the tag team match that I'm sure one of you are going to talk about. It was produced by Avi Davari. I can never pronounce his first name.
Avery Davari.
Yeah. I'm dyslexic.
That's fine. That's fine. I will say this. I thought that match was tremendous for various different reasons. And one of the main ones was that unexpectedness. It took you back to being a fan of old, where we've been involved in the industry one way or the other, whether or not it's the owner of a promotion, whether or not it's a talent, whether or not it's a commentator or a booker. The three of us have at one point all been a part of the business. Or you've been a wrestling journalist for 20 odd years. So you kind of become a bit, what's the word, tarnished in terms of the finishes. You understand the finishes more, you become quite cynical. And I was like you. I went into this thinking CM Punk all the way. It's going to be a squash. They made Ricky Starks look like a star in that match. That made him main event.
Yeah, I'd say just about definitely. I think it was a really cool swerve. I'm dissatisfied with the manner of the victory because of the name of the tournament and what it's there for, etc. And like you, Andy, I straight away was up. This has got a Punk victory all over it. We all know how much he loves Bret Hart as well, and the Hart family. Even wearing, just like FTR did, the tribute attire. And that, I thought it was good. I expected a good match, and I expected Punk to make Ricky look as good as he can be anyway. But I didn't see that finish coming, and pleasantly surprised.
I would just want to go back on one thing you said. I want to
Mm-hmm.
disagree with you on one thing, which is
Yep.
you didn't like the way it finished because of who it was for the tournament. Now, what I'm going to say with that is Owen Hart was known for the majority of his career as being one of the most dastardly heels, right? He would do anything he could to get a finish. This, I think, played down the Owen Hart strength. And actually, I think it did Ricky Starks a world of good because as a face character, I don't think absolute Ricky Starks was working. As a
No.
heel,
Mm.
Ricky Starks can be up there with MJF.
I agree. And I see your point as well to an extent. It did have Owen Hart-esque end to it. But I mean, for me, in terms of the tournament and it being the final, I was hoping that the victory would have been a clean finish for me. Maybe pull that out in the semi-finals. Have that little tribute to him there. That's just me. That's what I personally think for the actual final. But yeah, I mean, Ricky Starks looked like an absolute star in that match, and fair play to him. I look forward to seeing where he goes from here.
Now, I don't know if this is just me, but what I would have loved to have seen in that match is not Owen Hart, Ricky Starks doing the victory roll off the top turnbuckle on the
Mm.
shoulders of CM Punk.
Yeah.
The Owen maneuver.
Mm.
That would have made me mark out. I'll be quite honest. I would have marked out if that had happened because that would just solidify it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We've got to give a shout out as well. And it's not one of the matches to talk about tonight, but we've got to give a shout out as well to Willow Nightingale versus Ruby Soho, the women's final for the Owen Hart. Willow Nightingale, apart from having the most addictive in your head theme music of any superstar in history,
And smile.
love that girl. I love that woman. She's my new favorite. She beats Nikita Lyons.
Mm.
She's brilliant. I mean, she's
Yeah.
just, what is there not to like about Willow Nightingale? And
Yeah.
the heel turn for Ruby Soho a few months ago as part of the Outcast and what she's been doing, this is the best work Ruby Soho has done in a long time. So wanted to give a shout out to that.
Yeah, agree. But it still maintains the fact that Ruby Soho still can't catch a break when it comes to winning things.
I don't think she needs to. I think she's a Ted DiBiase perspective now where she doesn't need to win a championship. But we got news on AEW Women's Championships coming up shortly.
One little last thing about that match, though.
Yeah.
Little thing, I don't know about if you guys would agree, but I felt it almost, there's a little bit of it was like passing the torch. Like if that was CM Punk's last ever match, I'd feel satisfied about him passing the torch to Ricky Starks. It just had that little feel. I don't want CM Punk, now he's back, I'm actually okay with him being back and all that lot. But I'm like, I was like, it was just pleasantly surprised how much I felt like almost it was a little bit of passing the torchness.
Do you not think this is CM Punk making amends?
Yeah.
This is the CM Punk I'm really not an arsehole tour.
I'm actually starting to maybe expect that might actually be the next rivalry for Punk. Might actually be Ricky Starks, and it's that complete switch where Punk is the face, Starks is the heel. We know Starks can go. I actually, considering how good that match was, I would actually like to see a program between the two of them. I have to say.
I would, but not for a while. I think Punk's still got some stuff left. I've just cut my hand. I think Punk's got some stuff that he still needs to do, and I'm still expecting some sort of blow off between the elite, but we'll get to that maybe in a few weeks' time. Let's stay on Collision now. Let's go to my pick because, quite frankly, I think this is a match of the year candidate. If not one of the greatest tag team matches in history. FTR, Bullet Club Gold, again on Collision, 2 out of 3 falls matchup. I don't even know where to start on this one. This was platinum. If
you've got the aspect of the arguably the greatest tag team of the current era on one side. You've got everyone knows that I'm a massive mark for Jay White anyway. You've got him, one of the best in the world in my opinion. And then you've got an ever improving Juice Robinson. I mean, he's just getting better and better and better. That match was poetry in motion. It had everything you could ever want in a tag team match. And 2 out of 3 falls as well was just spoiling us. It really was. And honestly, for me, thus far, WrestleMania and that all aside, so far, match of the year of 2023. I'm going with it.
Ooh,
I'm going with it.
it's definitely top 3. I don't know if I think you've got to consider Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay as being
Well,
potentially match of the year.
I throw that. Sorry, I'm going to say best tag team match of the year, hands down.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's not much to choose from,
No.
in fairness, but I would agree with you. I think what you get with Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler is what they say on the tin, 100% top guys, right? What I'm loving though is it was on Collision, right? And everybody was saying this third show from All Elite Wrestling was going to bomb. It was going to be worse than Rampage. So far, I think we're 5 weeks in. Collision has been, for me,
solid,
the top wrestling show, beating Dynamite,
Yep.
beating Raw, beating SmackDown. It's been tremendous. This week, however, the change: Nigel McGuinness, Ian Riccaboni on commentary.
worked.
Now, I love Kevin Kelly. I think Kevin Kelly is a legitimate gold mine, and I love his work, and I love him in McGuinness, and I love him on New Japan. But Ian Riccaboni brought something totally different to that commentary booth that you don't hear from Kevin Kelly, you don't hear from from Excalibur, you don't hear from Schiavone, and they brought that pairing from Ring of Honor because they were doing ROH commentary, and it worked, and he sold it. And this match alone has made Jay White a main eventer in All Elite Wrestling.
Oh, it should have been anyway.
This was Jay White's match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved the. Sorry, Sam. I was just going to say I loved it when one of the points where, because let's put it, it was a match of paying tribute to the sharpshooter. Let's face it. I mean, I lost count the amount of sharpshooters there were in that match, and there was this one point where Jay White's got the sharpshooter on, and he'd done that thing where Owen Hart used to sometimes do, where he used to bring the hand up when he used to give it like that while he'd have it on, and signal to the crowd. And I love the fact that he did that, the Owen Hart tribute, and then he lifted his arm up again to do the Bullet Club guns up thing at the same time. Jay, as I said, this is one of the reasons why I'm a massive Jay White fan. Is I don't ever think I've ever seen him, even in New Japan, have a bad match. Even matches that are not of any significance, he just looks good, and he makes his opponent look good.
Yeah, he does, but I think you've got to give prevalence here to FTR.
Absolutely.
This match wouldn't have worked booked the same way with any other tag team bar FTR.
Oh, absolutely.
Wheeler and Harwood, they are the greatest tag team in professional wrestling at the moment. They are there.
Yeah.
Jay White, I like Jay White. I've known Jay White for a number of years. I worked with Jay White when he was still a trainee with Varsity Pro Wrestling back in the day, before he went to New Japan. And the kid had skills, right? He's grown. He's done amazingly well. Juice Robinson has done amazingly well. There was a spot in the match, Sam, I'll get your take on it in a second, where they went to do, FTR had Jay White down on the canvas. They went to do one aerial maneuver followed by another. They put the knees up. Juice Robinson came down, got the arm, went for the pin and the kick out. I mean, it was beautifully done, beautifully choreographed. Reminded me a lot of the Rock and Roll Express and the Heart Foundation and the Brainbusters and the Horsemen when they were on fire. And then you had McGuinness selling it, saying, you can't beat these guys. This is it. You can't beat it. And we had the closest 10 count before Jay White got back in. It was just, this was booking gold. Brilliant spot on the card as the opening match. I think it went for about 45 to 50 minutes uninterrupted. This is on free TV. Now, this is a pay-per-view quality main event.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. This is pay-per-view quality main event.
Absolutely. And the last thing I'll say on it on this match is that obviously it's a great throwback to what we used to always love about tag team wrestling in the 80s, the 90s, when tag team wrestling was at its peak. This was a nice throwback to that as well, which is what I loved. But on the Jay White thing, personally for me, once Adam Cole gets the AEW championship and that, I want to see Adam Cole versus Switchblade Jay White. I want to see it. We may not get it, but I would love to see that match. Adam Cole as the face, Jay White as the heel. Both of them have been associated with Bullet Club. I would love to see that match.
I think we will get it. Sam, what's your take on it? You've let me and Stefan rant for the last few minutes. What's your take on FTR versus BCG?
So I talked to one of my mates here. Well, I talked to one of my mates about it the other day, and why I truly believe is the other year back we had the Jurassic Park Express versus the Young Bucks. I've always called them, I always will. But they had the cage match, and for me that was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tag team match of all time. This came and joined it. FTR, amazing. They are top guys. The Bullet Club Gold, amazing. And I'm a mark for Jay White, but for me, I've been a mark since he was CJ Parker in FCW and then NXT. But Juice Robinson, that man can go. And by God, the four of them in that match, it was like poetry in motion. And it, like, I love that saying, but it's true. It was so well done. Like I love tag team wrestling. I love the old school. I love the AWA, the NWA, all that type of match, like all that type of wrestling where you had the old school tag team matches. And it's not like, oh, we don't have to have a high flying move every second. No, we can keep it to the mat. The mat is sacred. And these four men brought, like you say, a pay-per-view worthy match on free TV. People will watch it on ITV4 and be blown away by it. Sorry to do a plug, but it's
tonight. They will watch it tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry for the spoilers, guys.
That's the problem. One thing I didn't like about the match, and it's not actually the match. One thing I didn't like about the participants is I'm hating Bullet Club. Let the Bullet Club die. Right? Bullet Club is New Japan. It doesn't need to be an Impact. It doesn't need to be in All Elite Wrestling. Let these guys stand on their own away from Bullet Club. They don't need it. They don't need to have the logo. Right? Wrestling fans, especially All Elite fans, know who these guys are.
It's like having the NWO in multiple promotions, essentially.
But all it's doing is watering down what the legacy of the Bullet Club was.
Oh, yeah. Bullet Club's not been at its... top for a while now.
Bear in mind, Bullet Club started in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And then went to New Japan. But they need to let it rest. They need to let Switchblade and Juice Robinson and Colton Gunn and Austin Gunn, who I think are great additions to whatever the stable is, because these kids are a great young talent. They need to be called something different. Right. 2 from Collision. Are we going to make it a triple threat? Are we going Willow Nightingale versus Ruby Soho? Stefan, your match.
No, the 2 matches that were obviously taken by yourselves, so I'm glad they've been covered. I'm going to go for something a bit different and for different reasons. I've actually gone for Friday Night SmackDown this past Friday, and I've gone for the tag team match between the Brawling Brutes of Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus Pretty Deadly. Now, this isn't me marking for Pretty Deadly again, but for me, I'm really enjoying seeing the Brawling Brutes. At first, I was a bit not keen, but the way they're having tag team matches they're actually making WWE tag team matches good. Pretty Deadly. The way they've transitioned to SmackDown from NXT and NXT UK has been seamless. It's like they've been there for years. They're working brilliantly with everyone else. The match was solid. The whole feud thing, I mean, there's this Austin Theory thing in the background, but worried too much about that. I think that's all dead. But I love how Pretty Deadly are already being treated as seriously. Now, people, they say don't judge a book by its cover. We know about, I mean, I've seen it in the comments, people not keen on Pretty Deadly, the people are laughing at them. But it's kind of like, look at tag teams previously we've had over the years where you've looked at them and gone, yeah, I think they're just kind of a bit of a joke in that. But then you see them work over and over and over again. Then that's when you put respect on their name. And I think they are impressing. Unfortunately, as people may have known, Elton Prince Unfortunately, suffered separated shoulder in that match. A lot of people straight on and went online and started criticising Ridge Holland, saying it was from him. It wasn't because of him at all. So he's going to be out for a period of time, which is a massive, massive shame because they are going on the ascendancy. And I could have seen them, they've already worked with the tag champs and pushed them really, really close. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Kit Wilson during this time. I really want the momentum to keep going, but I mean the match itself, it's just hard hitting, and I never see Sheamus really down as a tag team wrestler ever. I mean, I can't even remember the last time Sheamus was ever in like the main event picture for one of the big titles. I can't remember all that, but Ridge Holland, have to give a shout out to Ridge Holland. He's looking better and better as time goes on. I think it was a little bit rusty at first, but now he's got into the swing of thing and he's had more TV time. He's a proper beast in that ring and he can really go. And I've been really, really impressed. And for me, for those reasons, because I do think it was worthy of a mention, that match for me, for all those different reasons, for me, I thought I'd include that one.
You know what? I'm not going to say anything because I think people know that I am not the biggest fan of Pretty Deadly.
No.
I'm really not. And that's not because of the fact that I don't think they can work. I just don't think I don't think they're main roster caliber. I think they're NXT caliber, don't get me wrong, and I think they could be legends in NXT, and they did. But saying that, you wouldn't want any worker to get hurt. So,
no.
Hope get well soon to Kit.
I just touch on
Elton Prince. He is going to be out indefinitely, though.
Yeah, I'm just going to touch on the whole the injury situation. I know that you guys would exactly agree, but us at TWS, my bad. No, that's the previous show, TSC. It's that time of day. Sorry, guys. So the Square Circle Radio is that we do not accept people sending death threats to a wrestler for an injury to someone else. It is not acceptable that Ridge Holland has had to go off all social media. He's having to now have help from the people at the back in WWE to help him because he is concerned about himself being in the ring with other talent because of injury. It is disgusting and appalling. If you call yourself a wrestling fan and you sit there behind your keyboard and send death threats to a gentleman and to his family and say that you're going to find his family in this country, you are disgusting people and you should stay away from the sacred thing that is the squared circle. I'm saying that from my heart because I think it's so disgusting. I'm sure the guys would agree with me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I will be honest, I didn't know that. That's news to me. I didn't know that bit. Completely echo it.
His family have got police looking after them. That's how it is.
So they should. You've redeemed yourself for calling the show TWS by going on that rant, by the way. But that's not acceptable in this day and age. It's too bad. Shouldn't have happened. I do send my best to Elton Prince. I think it's a massive shame. In terms of how this is going to impact Pretty Deadly, the other half of the tag team, I think this is going to be clever booking. Now, it depends what they do with Kit. If they keep him on TV, they can push him to the hilt, and they can still do some skits with Pretty Deadly. I don't think it's going to hurt them. Now, it's a separated shoulder, right? It's not career ending. He'll be back in a few months' time. So he can still fly. So I think you'll still see them on TV.
Yeah.
What does that mean? In my opinion, I think that will be a US title run.
Possible. A Brit getting the US title, that would be one to... if you're going to get some heat on a Brit, you put the US title on them.
You get a championship and you bejazzle it or do whatever you want to do with whatever Pretty Deadly would do with the title belt. They put glitter and crap on it, whatever they want to do. But you do that and you have the other half as Pretty Deadly as the spokesperson. That's how I would book it, and I think that's the impact on it. If they don't do that, if they don't keep them on TV, they're back to NXT. And you see it too often. Talent that have been out for so long, come back, they've not had the plug, they don't work. So I think they'll be back in NXT. But there's no reason why you can't keep Pretty Deadly on TV going forward.
Okay, here's an idea. SummerSlam. Drew McIntyre beats Gunther for the IC title. between now and Survivor Series, Kit Wilson gets the US title. It's Brit versus Brit at Survivor Series because it's the IC title versus the US title.
I would,
Just saying.
I like the thinking behind that.
But then Drew uses them as
I really hope Sam, aka Kit, will forgive me for saying, but I don't think he's going to quite match up to Drew McIntyre one-on-one yet, right at this stage. But who knows? Who knows? I'm still hoping we get Regal coming out with delivering War Games news nearer the time. But
he won't. He won't be.
It'll still be within.
He's still in this year. He can't do anything. I like your idea. I genuinely don't want Gunther to lose the IC title.
No,
I quite like it. I want to do a title versus title match at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight title. What I would like to see is a Brit versus McIntyre versus Harry Smith.
Yeah.
In the Battle of Britain. That's what I would like. Or Drew McIntyre versus JD McDonough versus anyone from Wales facing off against a Brit, Harry Smith. And then you have truly got the Battle of the UK.
I still think JD McDonough's going in Judgment Day, and I think he's either replacing Finn or he's replacing Damien, because one of those twos is going. One of them two are going now. Well, I don't know, because Rhea and Dom have also been getting frustrated with Finn over his treatment of Damien lately. So they are teasing it could be Finn that goes.
Well, we'll have to keep watching WWE Monday Night Raw. Right. Any last comments before we wrap up the event centre?
All three of those matches were superb.
Yeah.
All three were superb. Now, next week, I am really intrigued to find out who we pick, because bearing in mind tonight on Dynamite, Blood and Guts.
Oh, yeah.
So, will that be in the Road to 5-star, or will a match be in the event centre? We'll talk about it next week. Right, let's do the next one. No ad breaks tonight. We're going commercial free right the way through. My daughter's screaming in the background. This is Talking Point. You know, I've had 2 weeks off and I still haven't changed the volume on those.
Keep them as they are.
Those VTs, they're loud in my ear.
They hit hard.
It's weird. All right, so Talking Point this week, for those of you who are joining the show brand new and have never watched us or listened to us before, where have you been? Next week is 1 year next week since the first TSC podcast got released from the brand new era, and that was a TSC classic. So it's 1 year away. I thought it was today, but I was wrong. I've got a lot going on.
It's gone quick. It has gone quick.
It has gone quick.
I'm going to buy my party hat.
I want a cake. Sam, you live in Weymouth. There's no excuse not to have it.
I'm just thinking I might actually get a cake and then just sit here and eat it throughout the show.
I'm actually thinking I might take the kit round to Sam's and we might get a cake and we might just be on camera in the one instance. You know, you never.
Or even better, takeaway, just cheeky pizza.
If it's a Tuesday night, it's a Domino's on 2 for 1, so it'll be fine. Anyway, all good. Other fast food retailers are available. Domino's, if you do want to sponsor us on a Tuesday night, studio at totalwrestlingshow.com. At Squared Circle. Oh, I've done it. And I am now future endeavouring myself. Okay, before I drop myself into the crap anymore, let's look at the talking point topic. Now, as I was saying, if you haven't been on the show before, this is where we pick on a topic and we debate it for whatever it could be. This week, as we are just over 6 months of the year, we're already over halfway through. Where is 2023 going? We thought we would do the State of Wrestling address. So we look back on January right the way through. How is wrestling looking at the moment? What do we think?
I think it's an interesting time, because if you look at earlier this year, WWE was plagued with the whole Endeavour sale and who's running things really. Is Triple H running it? Is Vince still running it? I think there's been improvements in WWE, still far from perfect, but getting better. There's no denying in the past 5 weeks what an absolute brilliant positive it is to have Collision, because Collision is constantly hitting out belter of a show every week so far. Providing they can keep up that momentum, I think it's quite significant. Because as you say, we are getting matches. I mean, if you go back to the debut one when we had FTR and Punk versus Samoa Joe and Switchblade Jay White and Juice Robinson in that pay-per-view caliber match there as well. You always seem to get at least one pay-per-view caliber match each Collision. And it is, for me, outperforming Dynamite at the moment. Yeah, there are loads of people like MJF and Adam Cole, etc., that I want to see, that I like seeing on Dynamite. But at the moment, Collision as an actual show, it flows so well. And I just think that it's going to hopefully get everyone else to start upping their game a bit more.
When you say get everybody else upping their game, what do you mean? Because I would kind of go with you to a degree in terms of WWE. I think that, we're almost a year since the Triple H era kind of kicked off and being the savior of the WWE. But I would actually say that since January, I don't think AEW have really had a bad week. AEW have been on fire. They've had a couple of duds. Not going to say they haven't, but in terms of the comparison between WWE and All Elite, All Elite's been at the top most of that time.
I think it depends on, as a wrestling fan, which individual fan is looking for, what they're looking for. AEW, they're putting on stellar matches mixed with some good storylines here and there. Some of them are a little bit hit and miss. Some of them just make absolutely no sense whatsoever. WWE, some of the matches that have improved, their pay-per-views, because again, this is a non-premium live event zone. Their pay-per-views have got better. I enjoy the pay-per-views a lot more. But I feel that WWE still, if you want the drama, the storylines that really play out, and I think WWE is more for you at the moment. If you want stellar matches with, some decent storylines or one or two really good storylines, AEW is your thing. But I just think we get to a point where, especially with All In coming up at Wembley, the popularity of AEW is going up, and I think WWE, where they are improving, I think once things start settling behind the scenes there, and whoever is in control and certain things happen, I do think hopefully we're going to start seeing better matches on a weekly basis on Raw and SmackDown. Even on NXT, because NXT, that's like up and down every couple of months. They start getting on a bit of a momentum, and then it's boring. So I just think if you want to be entertained in terms of just from an actual wrestling standpoint, you look at AEW's the company at the moment you look at and just go, well, they're the ones that give you that. And I do think that WWE, I think really should take a little bit of note and just go, do you know what? We need to at least throw in one or two pay-per-view quality matches on our weekly shows. And see.
Okay, let's go to Sam, because Stefan made a comment about NXT being up and down your head if you're watching the video. It's a good thing about being the moderator on here. I get to kind of watch things. Your head kind of went, yeah, as though you disagreed with it. Just go with that. What's your take on this?
I'm a massive advocate for NXT. We're obviously our own opinions. I love how gritty it is, NXT at the moment. It's just something different, like the whole storyline of Gallus versus the family, about that. It's lush. I love how they're doing the women's segments. It's the whole Chase U at the start of Chase U. I'm a massive Bravo fan, but at the start of Chase U, oh my god, I was like, no, Andre Chase, this is below you. Like, I thought it was rubbish. Now I'm all for it. Duke Hudson, he's just amazing as well. And I think the way they're doing that is amazing. All the segments for me are you're on your seat, like you're edging more and more forward, like you don't expect stuff. But obviously we're looking at different things. Like for me, I'll fully admit I am a massive WWE mark more than I am an AEW mark. I love AEW, but for me, if someone's put a gun to my head and said you have to pick WWE or AEW for the rest of your life, bye bye AEW.
See, that's interesting, because back in the 90s when it was the Monday Night War, if someone had said to me pick WWE or WCW, I would have gone WWE. But now, if you said to me pick WWE or All Elite, I will go All Elite. I mean, All Elite's the only live wrestling event I've been to in a number of years. Now, I could have gone to Clash at the Castle last year. We talked about it. A couple of people, Lee and I, talked about going to Clash at the Castle. Could have gone to Money in the Bank. Didn't actually have £2,500 to go and get a ticket, but could have gone to Money in the Bank. Didn't want to. At the end of the day, All In, because of being Wembley and being All Elite, has got my attention. So it's interesting that we've still got this WWE fan, All Elite fan, New Japan, because the one thing I think 2023 has shown us so far is this forbidden door. You know, if you're thinking about New Japan and their impact now in the US, both with All Elite Wrestling and with Impact to a degree, and with New Japan Strong, that's getting good ratings. That's doing really well on the channel that it's on. If you take Impact, which did a cracking Slammiversary pay-per-view this past weekend, and we'll touch on that in 5-star later on. Again, Stefan's face goes, that's going to be an interesting argument. In 5-star later on, Impact have gone from being really kind of big, mega size, down to an indie federation, but it works, and it's gritty, and it goes. TV has been interesting. I think with AEW, we're seeing a lot more themed events, and really AEW just going, hell with it. WBD have told us we can do what we want. We're going for it. We haven't got the censors, and you're seeing that. The only thing with All Elite Wrestling that I wish they would curb a little bit is the blood.
Yeah, I just want to go back to what Sam was saying about the NXT. I don't disagree with him, but when I was doing the up and down motion with my hand, my arm, it's just, for me, I've always been an advocate for NXT anyway. I've always thought up until the NXT 2.0, NXT was the best product WWE were putting out for a long, long time. But for me, a lot of the time, it's inconsistent for me. Yes, I love this whole Tony D'Angelo family versus Gallus. That's one of my favourite things going at the moment. The Jay Shu thing, again, I agree. But for me, sometimes it's just a little bit too hit and miss for me. I mean, there's things you got like Schism, for example. You look at them. I mean, it's like they're just there. I mean, anytime it looks like they're about to do anything significant, nothing really comes from it, But for me, I think the tag team wrestling in NXT is better than, most of the time, better than what it is on the main roster. I give them that. But yeah, and I love the women's division in NXT. I think it's so far, far more entertaining than it is on Raw and SmackDown. Far more entertaining, because I think there's more of a variety as well on the NXT roster. So, but yeah, go back to what you're saying. I mean, I'll always be a WWE guy anyway, but I have grown to have an affinity for AEW because they're starting to really grow on me more, and I am becoming more and more invested in them. And I'm excited. It's only good for the wrestling fan. The better the product that each promotion puts out, the more entertaining I am, the more I feel that we're winning.
Okay, so we've talked about promotions, which is fantastic. Let's talk about performers, because for me, if you take WWE, for example, and you can love the guy or you can hate the guy, for me, there is a few standout performers. One of them is headlined by the undisputed World Heavyweight Champion, and that is Roman Reigns, because the head of the table has been phenomenal. But what I will say is this: the Usos.
Yeah.
I mean, they are Rusi. They are Rusi. And they are the ones. They are brilliant. Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso have done amazing work. Paul Heyman's done great. I love Solo Sikoa. He's one of the new main eventers. That's guaranteed. He's going to be the next big thing. You've also got to give credit where credit is due to Seth Rollins. And I know these are established performers, but Seth has done great since becoming World Heavyweight Champion. Flip to the women's side, I was never a big fan of Shayna Baszler. But the feud between her and Ronda Rousey has made Ronda Rousey relevant again. It's made Shayna Baszler relevant. Chelsea Green, Sonya Deville, World Tag Team Champions, beat Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez this past week on Monday Night Raw. Who would have expected that to have happened?
8 years in the making. 8 years in the making.
It's a tough enough reunion. Who would have expected that to have happened under, if Vince McMahon was running the show? There have been some surprises, but there are things that need to be improved. All Elite, it's the MJF show, right? MJF is the devil. He is tremendous. Whether or not they're saying there's a hard split or not, Dynamite is the Elite and the BCC. Collision is CM Punk and FTR, and I don't have a problem with that. Collision is what AEW needed. It gave it a shot in the arm. That's taking All Elite to that next level, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. I mean, AEW, we know because of how packed to the rafters their roster is, you need to give talent TV time. And it goes to show that if you've got the platform to give them TV time and to go out there and perform, you can discover a lot of diamonds in the rough. People could turn out to be better than you ever expected. There's a whole fresh approach when you see matches that you've not seen before, or even old rivalries from years back renewed. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about AEW. Going to what you're saying about the likes of the established performers in WWE like Roman and Seth. Seth has this thing about being able to reinvent himself to keep himself relevant and fresh. He has everyone eating out the palm of his hand, which is absolutely terrific. Roman Reigns, I mean, still can't believe, I remember when everyone was criticising his mic work, that he just seemed a little bit shy, not convincing on the mic and that. But my God, has he now he's turned it around. He's this confidence that he has now on the mic in front of the crowd. He doesn't look shy. He now runs things, like legitimately runs. He has everyone in the palm of his hand every time he speaks and does something on our screens. And that is, for me, absolutely fantastic. But like you say, the Usos definitely. I mean, sometimes we forget how long the Usos have been around for. I remember when they used to come out with the Hawaiian shorts and all that lot, and they were just like, yeah, they were just a decent high-flying tag team. To where they are now, Jey Uso for me, stands out a little bit more. Solo, as you said, fantastic. But you look at guys like LA Knight, who's, nothing really noteworthy in terms of matches yet, but everything else he does when he speaks and everything like that, he's probably one of the most over guys in the company.
I would disagree with you in terms of noteworthy matches. I think Money in the Bank.
I'm not saying he hasn't had any. I'm just saying in terms of the amount.
But I still would say I think Money in the Bank for him was a massive shot of the arm. We're going to move on to Newsline in just a second, so I want to go to some real quick responses now. Each of you, kicking off with Sam first of all. Standout promotion so far of 2023.
I'm being a bit left field, but Impact, I think always the best, but some of their shows have been superb. Some of their use of talent have been superb. I like breaking the mold, but but honestly, AEW amazing, WWE amazing, and yes, they are the top tier. But Impact are trying to come back. They got so hurt by lockdown, and they are trying to make themselves better again. But for me, they have done what NWA tried to do, what MLW tried to do, of trying to get to be that third brand, third company. They haven't got to the same tier as they used to be. Not to back to my old TNA, like the old when it used to have the 6 sides and that lot. I want that back, but what we've got now is amazing, and we'll talk more about that in our thing later on.
We absolutely will on 5-star. I just want to just go back to the lockdown comment. I know I said quick one answers, but I've got to do this. Yeah, they did pain us with lockdown. An entire pay-per-view in a steel cage, that was painful. But I agree with you on Impact. I think Impact is an underrated stepchild of professional wrestling, and it's a veteran.
Yeah,
it's been around since 2002. It's 21 years old, right? You don't realize that actually 2001. It's 22 years old.
They've been through a lot in that time.
We could do an entire show just
if it wasn't
on Impact.
For TNA, AEW wouldn't have the circle entrances. Just saying that.
If it wasn't for TNA, we wouldn't have Jeff Jarrett. Okay. Standout pay-per-view 2023 so far, Sam, go.
For me, still will be WrestleMania night 1. No, night 2. I mean,
Thank you.
because
no,
it's got my
night
favorite
one.
match of the year. My favorite match of the year.
That
Drew
was a bit loud.
McIntyre
That was
versus
a bit loud.
Sheamus versus Gunther.
Okay. Okay. Standout performer of 2023 first half. Go.
Yeah, LA Knight.
I knew that was coming on. What do you see? What's the big thing? If you're very clever, I know what you'll do with this. What is the big thing that's going to happen in the second half of 2023?
We're going to see a lot of changes.
That's not what I expected you to go with. That was your opportunity to step up and talk about Genesis, but it doesn't matter.
No, because that is completely different. We're talking about wrestling that we're watching on TV.
Oh.
We're talking about WWE. We're talking about AEW. Talking about Impact. Talking about
Do you know what?
WA. That's why I didn't talk about Genesis. I could easily talk about Genesis. I could do a whole show about Genesis.
Do you know
but
what?
I'm being polite to the fact of what we're actually talking about, and that is the shows we watch on the thing.
Do you know
none of our fans who are listening live have watched Genesis yet. It's not till November 4th. Bug.
I was just going to say this. He's only been a proper bloody host for about 45 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody's going to be talking about Sam Melrose.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Okay, Stefan, same for you.
Yes.
Standout promotion 2023 so far.
I'm going to go with AEW. I think overall, yeah.
Brilliant. Standout pay-per-view of 2023 so far.
I'm torn between Forbidden Door and Backlash for two very different reasons. I think Backlash was way better than it had any reason to be. Forbidden Door delivered because of the mainly two matches for me were just, matches of the year candidates.
Okay, cool. And standout performer of the first half of 2023.
For me, Gunther.
Not bad shout. And very quickly, what's the next big thing that's going to happen in the next 6 months?
Again, like what Sam said, it's going to be a lot of changes. We're getting to the end of the Bloodline storyline. We're going to finally see the whole Adam Cole MJF thing come to a head, and there's going to be a lot of changes. The scenery is going to change within both companies.
Okay. Perfect. All right, that was Talking Point for this week. State of Wrestling Address. What are we going to talk about next week? We will find out. Yes, I know I managed to escape giving my answers, and I'm not going to. Right, before we move on, I'm going to shuffle the show plan around a little bit. Let's have a challenge. Are you ready?
Okay.
This is Challenge. Really wouldn't think that I literally made that intro as we were doing Talking Point. Okay, so the way this is going to work is over the next few weeks, we're going to do various different challenges between Sam and Stefan, of which I'm going to organize them. One of them will be a Who Am I? It could be a When Am I? Or it could be Stefan versus Sam, the ultimate challenge. I'm going to give you 10 questions, 10 general knowledge questions from around the eras of professional wrestling. It's the first person to answer who gets a point correct. If you get the point wrong, it will go to your opponent. The person who gets the most answers correct at the end of the 10 questions will be the winner. If it's a draw, there is an ultimate tie. Sam, for you to buzz in, you go, "Awooha."
Awooha.
And Stefan, if you want to buzz in, you go, "Ping pong."
Ping pong.
Right. Technical, right? I'm a technical.
Do you know what? You missed the trick there, because what it could have been if Sam, Sam's could have been and mine could have been yes, boy.
Okay, all right. Sam, yours is yeah. Stefan's yours is no, boy.
Yes,
I'm going to move Sam up here, and I'm going to go down the bottom. So now it really is Stefan versus Sam. Right? Are we ready? Question number 1. Here we go. Who did the great... Oh, by the way, you must let me finish the question before answering. If you interject and you get the question wrong, your opponent will get the point automatically. Who did the Great Muta eliminate last to win Battle Bowl in 1992? Was it Sting, Big Van Vader, Barry Windham, or Dr. Death, Steve Williams?
Yeah.
Sam.
Dr. Death, Steve Williams.
No.
Can you repeat the names? I remember Sting and Dr. Death. What was the others?
Sting, Vader, and Barry Windham.
Vader.
Incorrect. It was Barry Windham. Question number 2. Who was the ring announcer for both the NWA and WCW during the late 80s, early 90s?
Oh. Oh. Yes, boy.
Stefan?
I think. Was it Bob? I can't pronounce. Is it Codal? No. Okay.
No. Sam, your chance to still get a point?
I really don't know this, but I'm just put a random name out there. Mike today.
No. It was Gary Michael Capetta, who released a great book called Body Slams, and if you listen to the Legends and Champions podcast, I interviewed him. Question number 3. What was Mark Merrow's name whilst in WCW?
Yes, boy.
Stefan?
Johnny B. Bad.
Yep. 1 point. What is Yokozuna's real name?
Yes, boy. Rodney Fatu.
No.
No. Oh, no.
Tough.
Oh,
Sam?
I literally would have said the exact same.
No,
So it's Agatupu Rodney Anoa'i.
Rodney Anoa'i, yeah.
Question number 5. Which Bobby Heenan-led tag team competed at SummerSlam 1989 in the opening match against the
Yes,
Hart family?
boy. Brainbusters. Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko.
No.
No, it's Tully Blanchard. Sorry.
I will give you the point because it was the
Brainbusters, yeah.
Right. Sam, you really need to get one right now.
I would have said that, but he said yes, boys, already.
In 1985, Sting and the Ultimate Warrior got their big break in a tag team for Bill Watts' Mid-South. But what was the tag team called?
Boy. Sorry.
I did say you have to let me read the entire question, which means you are frozen. Sam, your question. The Destroyers, the Blade Runners, the Scorpions, or the Muscle Men?
The Blade Runners.
1 point to Sam.
Yes.
You must let me finish the question, otherwise you will be disqualified.
It's like Mastermind.
What is the name of the wrestling superstar who links Jesse and Festus, the Straight Edge Society, the Bullet Club, and the OC?
Yes, boy. That would be Luke Gallows, Doc Gallows, and so on.
Yeah. You were just out. Which WWE superstar or superstars has theme music with the following lyrics? We walk alone to the unknown.
Yes, boy.
Didn't let me finish the question.
I thought you was finishing there because you
No.
just said we walk alone. Okay.
We walk alone to the unknown. We live to win another victory. Sam, your chance to get another point. Otherwise, it's pretty much over.
I walk alone.
We walk alone to the unknown. We live to win another victory.
Evolution?
No. It was the Nexus. Question number 9. It's pretty much over, but we'll carry on. At the first WrestleMania, the Dragon, Ricky Steamboat, defeated Matt Bourne, who would he return as a few years later?
Yeah.
Yes, boy.
That was Sam.
Doink the Clown.
Correct.
Now, everyone needs to watch the Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Sam, if you get this next question right, we will go to tiebreak. If Stefan gets it right, we won't. Simple. Which of the following WWE/WWF superstars has never had a match in the WWE that was rated 4.5 stars or more? Was it Hulk Hogan, Eric Rowan, Jack Swagger, or Marty Jannetty?
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't understand the question.
Dave Meltzer's 5-star rating. Hogan's never got a match over 4.5.
Yeah.
So Hulk Hogan. Okay, so 3 apiece. This is the ultimate tiebreaker. Are we ready? What song was used for the Roddy Piper tribute video after he died in 2015? Was it Hold On Tight by Greg Holden? Was it Monster by Imagine Dragons? Or was it One More Time by Seven Lions?
Yeah.
Yes, boy.
That was Sam.
The Seven Lions song.
That is wrong.
Oh, no. I know what that was used for.
May I?
Yeah.
May I? It's the Hold On Tight song.
It is Hold On Tight.
Yeah. Oh.
Stefan wins by 1 point. So there we go. That is the ultimate challenge. I didn't think that was too bad.
Yeah, so
No, I didn't think that was too bad. That was pretty good. Right, let's shift things up again. Let's go to 5-star. We're going to do Road to 5-star next, and then we'll come back with the news. Back after this. All right, so this is the new segment. Oh, hang on. I haven't changed me around. This is the new segment that is replacing Top Pick. So still to come is the news. Now, on a weekly basis, we are going to be discussing 1 or 2 wrestling shows or a pay-per-view that occurred during the week. We will be evaluating what the quality of the show was, the match outcomes, any surprises, and the potential impact it will have on future storylines. Each match will then be scored out of 5 individually. We will then come up with a combined pay-per-view rating out of 5 stars. Make sense?
indeed.
5 stars. Now, this week, we thought we would go to Canada. Could have been AEW, could have been Dynamite, could have been Collision, but we went to Impact and to Slammiversary, which was their annual special. And in my opinion, one of a really good pay-per-view. However, because it's his debut as a full-time host, this is Sam. So I'm going to hand over now to Sam to run the show. God help.
Welcome to the Road to 5-star. So we're going to talk about Slammiversary live from Canada. For once, we don't blame Canada, as South Park would want us to. And we go to Slammiversary. We start off with the pre-shows, because why would we try and do the main bit of the show and then go back to the pre-show? So we had the Death Dolls and Jody Threat versus the Shorterage in a tag team match. What do you guys view on that match in general?
For me, I think it's a travesty that Giselle Shaw is on the pre-show. I've worked with her a couple of times. I'm going to keep name dropping. I've worked with her a couple of times. She is brilliant, and she's also very very close to the Brothers All. She's a great talent, really is a great talent, and doesn't deserve not to be in the title picture as far as I'm concerned. I understand why she's not at the moment. It was okay. As a 6-man goes, I think this is where you see that indie feel of Impact coming out, because the Jody Threat and the Death Dolls, Courtney Rush and Jessica, they to me don't have star appeal or star power.
Yeah,
I only gave it a 2.
Yeah, I agree with Andy on everything he just said. The fact that Giselle was not on the main card is a travesty. It was a okay ope for a pre-show. Nothing overly significant about it. I would say a 2-star as well.
In fairness, though, I think pre-show matches don't really need to be much. They're just to get the crowd going, right? They don't.
I think it's a waste of talent considering Giselle and that's in that match. I think it's a waste.
And also, I've got to give a massive shout out to Savannah Evans. I'm a massive fan of hers. She's like up and coming. And to be alongside Giselle, what a help to push her career.
Do you know what? I'm a massive fan of Savannah Evans as well, because she's got my name. Fan of anyone called Evans, unless you're a politician.
Even Jack.
Okay, all right. So I've given it a 2. Stefan's given it a 2. Sam, what did you rate this pre-show opener?
I actually gave it a 3.
Okay.
I went middle field at 3 out of 5. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just right. But it's one thing it's also because I'm a fan of them.
Yeah.
But I like the Death Dolls. They're something different. Plus, also it's so nice to see them in a different form, if that makes sense. I've been a fan of Jessica Havoc for years, and I just think she's brilliant. Courtney Rush, brilliant, and to have Jody Threat as well. It was nice, but no, for me it was the guys, unfortunately, who lost the match. But the Shorterage is just brilliant.
The Shorterage is a great name as well.
Yeah.
Although I do want to see Mark Wahlberg kind of come out for some strange reason as part of the entourage. I don't know. I think you've got a valid point there, and I think it's interesting that you've got the bigger name in this match. You've got something to draw the fans in terms of Jessica Havoc and Giselle Shaw. So maybe there's something happening there in the meantime. You also had a championship on the line, also in the pre-show. Go for that one.
So we've all been asked to believe in Joe Hendry, and some of us did. But for me, I was loving the fact he was against Kenny King. I love the DMC as they were calling it, but the Digital Media Championship is something different. It's basically this day and age TV championship. But what for me for this match, it was so well done for a pre-show match. I felt it didn't deserve to be on the main show. It was great it felt like a bit like an old school US title match in like a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What did you guys feel about that? Because obviously back in WWE, we used to have pay-per-views before Mania, and that's where we chuck on Ryback versus Kalisto at WrestleMania 31.
No.
Or 32.
We used to chuck Ryback off a cliff. Not. We didn't have Ryback on.
Be careful, Andy, because if Cryback comes across this video, and that he'll be wanting to feed on you.
Cryback can fly back to wherever little crummy little hole he came from. Anyway, I'm a big fan of Kenny King. I've always have been a fan of Kenny King from the Ring of Honor days through to the original run in Impact Wrestling. However, I think King has lost something this run within Impact, and I don't know why. There's something not quite clicking with Kenny King in the audience. Joe Hendry, he's a Scot for a start, right? He's a Brit. Love the guy. He did great stuff in ICW. He's done great stuff in Ring of Honor when it was the old school Ring of Honor with Sinclair. He's a good worker. This, to me, just didn't gel. There was something with this match that didn't go right. And I know what you're saying about the Digital Media Championship. I think that it was a gimmick title that didn't work when they first released it. And it's never quite got any heritage or lineage to it. And I don't think the fans have ever really accepted it. It's a shame because, Brian Myers, Jordan Grace, Joe Hendry, all previous champions. It's got lineage. It's got some good names to it. But the way it was launched, I don't think ever did it any justice. I only gave this one a 2 as well. It was a weird way to end the pre-show hyping into the main event. You would think a title change would get you hyped going into the pay-per-view. I didn't think this really did do it.
Yeah, no, I've got to agree. For me, it was a 2-star match. There was a slight feel of Kenny King, and I can't remember what his the guy who follows him round. But it felt almost like Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Like they're trying to do their own version. I'm a massive Kenny King mark. I've been for years. And I was glad to see him win it because I feel like now, brilliant. Now Joe Hendry can start going towards the X Division title or the main title. However, I did feel a bit like you say, it was a bit lackluster going into the pay-per-view with a title change.
This felt more like it should have been on an episode of Impact. This could have been an Impact main event, and it would have been a good Impact main event. But I think having it on pay-per-view or pre-show or YouTube, or whatever it was on, it just didn't work. There was just something not clicking with these two guys. It could have been an off day. But that didn't affect the enjoyment of the overall card. It's not my lowest. Well, it is my lowest match. That and the other pre-show have got the lowest score. But I want more from Kenny King, and I think I want more from Joe Hendry. But I definitely want more from Kenny King. The guy should be in the main event picture. There's no ifs and buts in my mind about that.
If no buts, no coconuts.
Yeah, for me, hold on a second. Yeah, right back. It's Stefan from the Square Circle podcast. Going to have to cancel that interview for unforeseen circumstances. Goodbye. Don't listen to the show this week, by the way. Bye. Yeah. Anyway, for me, I gave it a 1 star. There was something. It didn't gel for me. It was disjointed. I really don't care for that title. I'm not a fan of these like you say, gimmick titles that don't even serve a purpose. Like, people don't take them seriously. The the fans clearly haven't taken to it, as you said. It was an okay match, but yeah, I would expect more from both of these guys. You know, Kenny King feels like he's been around for so long now, and hearing his name, but never doesn't seem to ever do anything overly significant. Like, you know, you hear his name a lot, and you think, okay, so but what's he doing? What's he doing now? And it just doesn't seem to be hitting those heights that maybe he probably should be. But yeah, for me, it was my lowest score of the card. I gave it a 1 for me. I just lost interest.
Okay, let's move into the main pay-per-view card then as well, because we kicked off with, and we're going to run it. This is in match order. Okay, so we're going to kick it off. Sorry, I'm taking over again. Sorry, Sam. With Ultimate X, Kushida, Jonathan Gresham, Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, and Angels. Ultimate X has got a history. Ultimate X has got a lineage. Ultimate X is meant to be off your seat, edge of the cuff excitement. This had it in places, but I think when you compare it to Hernandez and Amazing Red and Austin Creed and, you know, AJ Styles
Chris
and all of that,
Sabian.
Chris Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, just to name a few, top of the head, this wasn't up there. Kushida did a good job, but he couldn't save it. For me, the stars of this was Kushida and Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't live up to it. I mean, those are some of the biggest names that you've mentioned there, the former winners. And you said about the lineage there. The names that have featured and won that match are stellar names and some of the biggest names that TNA/Impact have had. But yeah, for me, it was a forgettable one. For me, Kushida, I'm not a fan of Kushida. He's never impressed me. He did a little bit before he joined NXT back when, but he's never really overly impressed me. I've never seen any really believed in a lot of the hype for him. But he did okay. But for me, it was a forgettable Ultimate X match. I'll give it a 3. I think it was better than the previous two matches that we mentioned. I'll give it a 3.
Okay, Sam.
Out of push.
Sam?
Yeah, it gets a 3 for me. The star of this match was Kevin Knight. I thought he was brilliant. I loved the fact of it was almost to the point, a bit like the counter we have tonight. There should have been a kick in the hit in the nether regions for Angels. Jake something. Oh, I just felt like it sounds weird, but I almost felt he was too big for the match. It felt like like the whole fact at one point where he was jumping to try and show that he's like from standing launch could reach it. I just, yeah, I agree with what you said. Kushida tried his best to save it. It didn't. It got a 3 for me. It was not bad, but it wasn't good. I wouldn't want to watch it again. I'd skip through it if I was watching the pay-per-view. The rest of the pay-per-view actually gets amazing scores, and I absolutely loved it. But this was a bit like, oh, come on. I felt like someone was trying to start a car and it just wasn't kicking in, like the old wind-up cars.
That's a good analogy for that, to be fair.
Trying to it on to the next match. Do we actually go, whoa, we've got energy?
That's exact. Yeah, go on. Sorry, Andy.
I was just going to say, I think the thing is, I don't think Ultimate X's work unless they've got the title on the line. There's got to be a reason.
Yeah. I was just going to add what you said, Sam, there about that. That's how I felt watching the pay-per-view was, you'd think, oh, something looks promising. And that's how I felt about the show. It was just like you said, you're trying to get a car starting and it's not quite hitting it, but we'll get to that.
Let's hold up on talking about the show until we've done the matches. Because on the next championship match was on the line next, as the Impact Knockouts World Tag Team titles were on the line, as Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich faced off against the Coven, Taylor Wilde and Killian King. I love Taylor Wilde. I always have done, but the fact she's come back into the ring, she looks different to when she was younger. She's middle-aged. I think she's amazing. And so much time for Taylor Wilde.
Yeah, like for me, that it's like do you even know she's middle-aged? She seems like she's... But honestly, she looks like she's in her early 20s. She acts like she's in her early 20s. She's just superb. She does a brilliant podcast, guys. Go and listen to it. We're fans of other podcasts on this podcast. But honestly, that match, it's joint favourite of the night. It was just superb. It was what you wanted and more. I'm a massive Killer Kelly fan. I loved how she was. Marsha, and I'm not going to try and pronounce her last name because I won't pronounce it correctly. Amazing, and it's just, I think that in total, just so good. And it was nice to see a title change. Like, for me, it was a great title change because I wasn't expecting it. Though, if I did predictions, I would have said it out of hope. I didn't think it was going to happen.
I think that's happened a few times on this pay-per-view, though, and we're going to talk about that. Stefan, what's your rating for this? What do you consider?
I'm going to give this a 3. It was actually one of my preferred matches of the night as well. Sam made some good points there as well. I like Killer Kelly the way she is now. The way she's teaming with Slamovich, I'm enjoying. But yeah, it was one of the better matches of the night, definitely. And be interesting to see where Taylor Wilde and King go from here.
Well, I'm actually going to go different to all of you. I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
I think. You went 4. You went 4.
Yeah,
I think it's a great match. I think it put Killer Kelly and Master Slamovich in a different light to what they've been shown previously on Impact. I love, as I said earlier on, the combination of Wilde and King. I think King is getting a massive rub from Taylor Wilde in terms of the expertise. The podcast is great. You're absolutely right. So I've given it 4 out of 5. My highest score so far of the night. Do the next match, please.
What? As in the wonder that is?
Yeah.
We had Billy Ray and Dina come out to the ring. We then had Scott D'Amore stand on the by the Titantron, and we're waiting to find out who is his tag team partner.
Pause. Did anybody at that point think it was going to be A1?
Yeah.
Considering they just showed A1 in the crowd as part of Team Canada, and they referenced Team Canada. Haven't heard the trademark for a while.
No. I thought he was going to jump over the barrier and then run and hit both of them in the ring. That's how I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to suddenly get A1 on the screen or Team Canada, and then suddenly boosh, boosh, and it'd be I'm not saying a quick finish, but I thought it was going to be that. To have it that I fully admit I lost my proverbial, because that's the lightest I can do for a family show. I lost my proverbial when on comes Mr. Eric Young.
So we got some news on Eric Young. Eric Young got released from WWE in April. He requested his release. He didn't want to work under Vince McMahon again. He's gone. He's back at Impact. He's spoken about it and said it feels like coming home. The one thing, I mean, I gave this a 4.5 out of 5, partly because I really rate Bully Ray. Still, I think Bully Ray now is he's not lost it at all. And second of all, because I think Eric Young coming back was a big surprise, and that's what this segment's all about: is what surprises are you going to get. No one expected Eric Young. It was a swerve. I thought it would be A1, seeing him on the camera. My only thing that it didn't get a 5 was the crowd. Now, I don't know what your feed. I don't know what you picked up on. Eric Young comes out to Team Canada's music. He stood there with Scott D'Amore. You've got the Titantron. It's old school. You've got Eric Young stood there. The crowd were dead, and that hurt it. But I still mucked out. I still did a Sam and just went, "Yeah, Eric Young's back! Woo, yeah!"
I think I know why.
But it hurt it.
I think it's because everyone had heard. Everyone reads the dirt sheets. Everyone reads and hears on podcasts like this all around the world. Don't know why they would listen to anyone else but us, but just saying.
Busted Open is good. Listen to Busted Open.
Everyone thought he'd gone back, that Eric Young had gone back to WWE. Even me, until I read that he was actually got the release in April, I thought he was still in WWE. I thought, it's a one-time deal thing, a bit like Mickey James with the Royal Rumble. Okay, cool. He's been allowed to come to do this one thing. Next week, we'll see him actually debut on like SmackDown or something. Or even back on NXT or something like that. I think that's why. I think the fans are a bit like, oh, okay. we thought you'd gone, and also the fact that he was they've made a big thing now. He is the first TNA wrestler to die and then come back to life. He's like TNA's Jesus.
Oh jeez.
Well, that's what he literally said online. Those comments have said that. But honestly, like, I think that could be the reason why is the fact that they say the dirt sheets hurt the actual sheets. It hurts the mat. It does affect shows because we're all saying if we knew that he was completely released from WWE, we'd be like, oh my god, he's back. He's going to be on the show every week. Going to be on the week. Are they thinking, oh, he's back for one night, he's going to be gone again, we're not going to see him again, it's just a one-time thing, compared to, I think, also where they hyped up about A1 and A1 being in the crowd. I even thought it was going to be A1 from the promo they had on Impact before Slammiversary. I thought, oh, they're going to bring about A1 because he's the only one that I thought, other than Eric Young, I thought he's the only one who's actually ring okay.
There was a part of me that was hoping to God it was Robert Roode, but obviously he's out injured, all that type of thing. But yeah,
he's only just had another neck fusion.
Yeah, he's out he's done.
And
he's
when,
out indefinitely.
When he comes back, he'll come back as a manager in WWE or producer.
I wouldn't expect him back.
I can't remember who it was recently, WWE. Someone said, I think it was only about a week or 2 weeks ago, actually turned around and said they're actually hoping Robert Roode finally actually gets a push when he comes back from injury in WWE, like, because his career's starting to work. Yeah, I was at Kurt Angle, yeah. And I agree with him because we all know how good Bobby Roode really is. And I still a little bit disappointed that when he was in NXT, we didn't get a Beer Money reunion when James Storm briefly made an NXT appearance.
There were plans. I mean, there were future plans for that, but he didn't sign for whatever reasons. But okay, so what did we score this match? I scored this one 4.5 out of 5.
Right, yeah. So for me, my opinion on the match, it was good. Again, I agree. Bully Ray just, his age and whatnot, considering, his long career as part of the Dudleys, to see him solo for so many years and the fact he hasn't really lost much of a step is really impressive. And, I was a little more invested in this match because this whole Scott D'Amore thing that's been going on, and I have been enjoying that. I still think it's crazy that the size that Scott D'Amore is could pull off a beautiful Canadian destroyer the way he does. I absolutely love it. But yeah, it was good. And again, yeah, the dead crowd for me when Eric came out did hurt the match. I was like, oh yeah, I wasn't as like marked out the way you two did. I was like, oh, Eric's back. Okay, cool. I like watching Eric Young wrestle, so I was just happy to see that opportunity for him to see him wrestle again. But yeah, I was just like, okay, yeah, this isn't. It didn't feel the way that it should have done. But I give this match a 4. I did enjoy this match. I really did.
Brilliant. All right, so far, highest score on the match card so far is a 4. From everybody else, I gave it 4.5. So we're in the higher echelons. X Division Championship up next. Leo Rush versus Chris Sabin. This was going to be Sam's second match as part of the event center tonight, but we opted to do one each. I'm just going to go with this. Cracking. Loved every minute of it. 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, exactly the same. 4 out of 5. It was short, sweet, perfect. It carries on the bad child gimmick that Leo Rush is just superb on. I'm a massive Leo Rush fan. I could probably do half a show about him, just with I've always been a fan of him. If I ever met that man in life, I fully admit I would be starstruck and my hands would be shaking. I fully admit, but because I think he's amazing. He has been, even when he used to shout out "Bobby" when he was in WWE with Bobby Lashley.
My man, Bobby Lashley.
But honestly, I love the fact he didn't let him out of the jacket. He didn't do that. It carried on that heel, and to have him with the X Division title around his waist, and then on top of that, him versus Kushida are going to be some amazing matches.
Well, you think about the fact that Leo Rush is WWE, AEW, and Impact Wrestling, and this is where I think you are finally getting to see the real Leo Rush.
Yeah,
and I love it.
He's had some appearances the past year. He's been in Progress.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He has. Pro, New Japan, New Japan
I think
Strong.
But I think this is where you're seeing the proper Leo Rush. He is cocky, he's arrogant, he's grown as a performer. He's going to have a massive impact, no pun intended, on storylines going forward. And like you, Sam, yes, I want to see Rush versus Kushida. I would like to see Saban back in the title mix again. However, I'm not totally convinced Saban should be in the X division anymore. But that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. Like I said, 4.5 out of 5 for me, 4.5 out of 5 for Sam. Stefan, what did you give this one?
I gave that on a 4 as well.
So you gave it a 4. So not bad, respectable score.
Unlike Sam, who said it was short and sweet, for me, I wanted it to go a little bit longer. That for me, I just wanted a bit longer.
Chris Sabin couldn't have it much longer. He was going into the match already with a slight little bit of injury, from what I've read. Right. Plus, also the whole fact of the officials being ringside. That was kind of because outside of the ring, kayfabe, there was slight issues going on.
Right.
You gotta love professional wrestling, don't you? This is where this next match is where I think the pay-per-view took a little bit of a nosedive. World Tag Team Championships, Subculture, Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster, defeated ABC, which is Ace Austin and Chris Bay, and Brian Myers and Moose, Rich Swann, and Sami Callihan. Now, in my notes, I've put here, what the proverbial is Sami Callihan doing in tag team action?
I thought it was a mess. I didn't enjoy it at all. With the names that are involved, I expected better. I expected some form of chaos, but for a better reasons, but not for me. And I'm just going to leave it with my rating, and I gave that a 2.
Okay, I didn't go quite that bad. I gave it a 3. I think it's great that the Brits have won. It's all Brits tonight. Great that the Brits have won the tag team titles. I just think that I've never been the biggest fan of Moose in ring. I think he's good, but he's not amazing. But Sami Callihan is a main eventer. It's a former Impact World Heavyweight Champion on multiple occasions. Now in the tag team ranks. It was placed well, I think, on the card, because that was your cool down match leading into your final 3 headliner matches. I gave it a 3. Second lowest match on the card for me. Sam?
Yeah, it got a 3 from me. I felt it was a bit of a cluster flush. That's my PG version. I have a lot of respect for Morgan Webster personally. I'll happily talk about that in the future. I bet quite bluntly wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. But he is amazing. Mark Andrews, amazing. ABC, amazing. Also, love the fact that they are called ABC. However, no offense to the other 4 men who were in the match, they shouldn't have been there. It should have been just a straightforward tag team match, good old tag team match between ABC and Subculture.
We're going to get really stuffed here, aren't we? We're going to end up with a forbidden door with Impact, and we'll have the ABC versus the BCC versus the BCG.
Honestly, I felt it. I was just left going, what was that? Like, why am I watching? I agree. Why am I watching Callihan in tag team action? Why am I watching Moose being with Brian Myers? And I love Brian Myers, don't get me wrong, but I just felt it didn't click. It didn't work. It was very much, we want to get all these amazing stars onto one show. It didn't work.
It just reminded me of what they're trying to do in AEW, this blind tag team tournament thing where random people are paired up. It just felt, because I can't say I watch Impact every week. I try and watch it where I can, but Rich Swann, from what I remember, was a face. Sami Callihan was a heel back when I last watched it, so it seemed a weird pairing.
Sami Callihan is face now.
Great, okay. That doesn't work either.
I was just going to say Callihan and face don't work.
Callihan's a heel.
He's too ruthless to be a face.
When his name is Death Machine, it's a very heel name. You don't go. He should be like the Flower Machine, not the Death Machine.
He's a Care Bear. He's a Care Bear.
He's very ruthless.
He's my little Callihan. He's Rainbow Dash or or something.
God.
The one thing I will say though, the one I feel like this match would have worked if it was an elimination match. Like if a team was pinned, like that meant they're out. Or even like TNA have done in the past, where they've done multiple tag teams in an elimination tag team match where one member is eliminated, the other half isn't still, so they can still be in the match. It's a way
It's a bit messy then, isn't it?
Different, but then also that would have been a cluster flush. It should have been either just 2 tag teams or elimination tag team match.
Well, let's just put it this way. At least they didn't do the tag team reverse battle royal in the cage.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Next!
Shivers. Oh,
Next
match.
We're now in what I would call the triple main event of Slammiversary. This is the top 3 matches, and this is where the scores really did ramp up. So we got the grudge match. Eddie Edwards with Aisha Edwards facing off against Frankie Kazarian with Tracy Brooks, a TNA original, who is still smoking hot, right? This was a grudge match. This was hardcore. This had everything but the kitchen sink. This got a 4.
Yeah, sorry.
Why?
For me, oh God, here we go. Kazarian, I've always liked Kazarian, and I still love the fact that he can still put on a really good match. It was good. It was good. Again, it was one of the better matches of the night. For me, I still feel, just from my perspective, could have been a little bit better. But I went 3.5 on that one.
You're a tough critic of this pay-per-view.
I am all of them now.
Sam, what did you go for?
I went 4-star. I thought it was a really good match. It felt a bit of like an old school TNA style. I almost wanted certain past wrestlers to come back and be involved somehow, but I liked the fact that it wasn't. It was just their misses. I love the misses having the scrap. Might have helped by the fact that it was Tracy Brooks. Always been like a childhood crush style thing. But still absolutely smoking.
And Sam, you are again future endeavoured. So you given it a 4, Stefan a 3.5, I've given it a 4. Now it's the double main event. This is, and I'm going to just put this as I put it in my notes, the Impact Knockouts World Championship match. The GOAT, Deonna Purrazzo, facing off against Trinity Fatu. Now, Trinity went over in this. I think we all expected Trinity to go over if we were going to do predictions for this. I got 2 things that come out of it. One, Deonna Purrazzo is quite simply the biggest female attraction in Impact Wrestling at the moment. She got the Charlotte Flair entrance.
Yeah.
The violin, the coming down the ring, the Grobe. I mean, she is a GOAT, without a doubt. And I'm not saying she's a bear. I'm saying she's the greatest of all time. She was impressive. Trinity... To me, Trinity is completely refocused. She's re-energized. She looks the same as WWE, but she's got a different edge to her. She's acting different in the ring. I think she's got that release now from the confines of the WWE machine and the style, and it worked. And it got a 5. You couldn't go anywhere else with it. It was a 5.
It got a 4 for me. It wasn't quite a 5-star. None of the matches got 5-star. I got a 4.5. Obviously, you already talked about. But for me, this match, I wanted it. If we did a prediction for it, it'd have been Purrazzo for me. I wanted her to win. I thought she was going to win. I thought it was the whole hype for Trinity for her to lose. But I still think she was amazing. A brilliant performance by her. Brilliant, and the entrance for Deonna. Oh, amazing. I also like the fact that every once in a while in the match, she did a little nod of the head to her own other half, Steve Macklin. It was almost like the little things he does in the ring, like taunts to the crowd, she did. And I thought, what a nice little touch. He was supposed to be at this pay-per-view, but because of injury, he can't. So she was like, I will make little remarks, little respects to him. But yeah, 4-star match.
She's tremendous. I just think Deonna Purrazzo is brilliant. And
WWE dropped the ball.
Yeah, but I think AEW have as well, because the contract came up for renewal recently. They should have snapped her up. Her Britt Baker DMD would have been phenomenal. Would have been money. If they ever do a crossover again, I hope they do that match. Okay, so that one has been scored. Impact World Championship match.
I didn't score it. I haven't scored it.
Okay, sorry, Stefan.
For me, that's a 4.
Okay.
For me, yeah. Yeah, it was good. We talked about it in recent weeks about when we had the New Japan Women's Championship, when it's a case of like it delivers on everything you want from a women's wrestling match. This just slightly fell short of that pinnacle that we had with Mercedes Moné, but for me it was still very, very good, and again one of the better matches of the night.
Okay. Perfect. That brought us on to the main event, the Impact World Championship on the line. Alex Shelley, Motor City Machine Gun, first run with the Impact World title, defeating Nick Aldis. It got a 5-star from me. I think, even though the match may not have been amazing, it may not be the match that you look back on in 2 years' time and go, that was Alex Shelley's finest moment or Nick Aldis's finest moment. It was the build that played a part in this one. The promo packages. This was Impact doing promos, the best that I've seen them do promos in recent memory. Nick Aldis, for as much as people criticize this guy, he can he can talk, he can cut a promo, he can work, and he can make a static stuffed piece of cardboard come alive. I'm not saying Alex Shelley is cardboard. Alex Shelley played off on that. And actually, who was the heel in this? Because
Yeah.
legitimately, Alex Shelley coming off saying, "His company's on my shoulders. I've worked so hard for this." Blah 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 blah. Who cares,
Mm.
right? So who was the heel? Who was the face? It was an interesting
Yeah.
thing. It was a 5 for me. The build up, the match. Shelley going over was the right result as well. It was too quick to put it onto Aldis. Aldis is now gone. He's rumored to be going to WWE as a producer.
Rumored. Oh yeah, as a producer, I can understand.
Yeah.
Go on, Sam. I'll give you. You give your score for this one.
4.5, joint with the X Division match. I thought Shelley versus Aldous was going to be money. It turned out to be, what was it? Money. And like literally for me, it was superb. I loved it. But what I was surprised that my 2 4.5 matches have the Motor City Machine Guns in.
Mm.
I love them. I've always been a fan. I think they're brilliant. The fact you have Nick Aldis in that match, I'm very jealous of Mr. Andy Evans for interviewing him about 10,000 million times.
3 times.
Yeah, it just feels like a million times.
3 times.
I'm very jealous. I think the guy's amazing. And he put on that match. If one of them failed, if Alex failed, Nick picked it up. If Nick failed, Alex picked it up. That's how I truly felt about that match.
These two are chemistry, and it goes back to the tag team days where it was Motor City Machine Guns versus the British Invasion. These two had it. They had chemistry, and they put on a clinic. It was a testify, absolute amazing clinic. Stefan, what did you rate it?
Oh, this is going to be controversial. I gave it a 3.5.
Okay, I've wanted to do this for a while now.
Bye. No, honestly, the build up to it was exceptional. Like, I cannot fault the build up. I went into this expecting it to be much better than what it delivered. Now, I take all your points on board, but for me, I watched it and I was just like, it's not what I expected it to be like. It just, for me, just didn't. It didn't live up anywhere near the expectations I had for it.
I think that's the problem with professional wrestling. We've all got expectations to go higher than what a match can actually deliver. It's just like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, I knew. I again knew Alex Shelley would come off this as a winner, and I agree with Sam. It was the correct result. It would have been too soon for Aldis to win that. We'll see what he does next. If he does go to WWE, we'll see there. But I'm happy for Alex Shelley. I mean, he deserves the run. But it was a very good match. It just, for me, it just didn't live up to the hype. So for me, it's 3.5.
Okay, so we've all scored the pay-per-view. Now, what we need to do as part of the end of Road to 5-star is come up with what we think the pay-per-view actually delivered. Now, majority of my scores have been high 4s, even a couple of 5s. So I've given the pay-per-view 4 out of 5.
I'm going 3.5 out of 5.
All right. And Sam?
I'm going 4 as well, because obviously I gave it a few 3s, a few 4s, a few 4.5s. It was not a full 5-star. It wasn't a 4.5. It was a 4. I thought it was a really, really good pay-per-view. It will be one I'll watch again. Obviously, like I said, there is 2 or 3 matches I might not watch again, but the rest of it I will. I would even recommend it for people to watch it. I'd say miss that match, but the rest of it, amazing. I thought it was a really, really good one. It for me it ended a great put my teeth in, being Jonathan Ross. A great week of wrestling. I felt like it was almost like the little dot at the end of the sentence that was the week of wrestling last week.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So to come up with a collective score out of 5, I think it's only fair if we do the average.
I think you go with a 4.5 on the basis that you two have scored it higher than me. So I think that outweighs mine. I think that would be more fair to go with the majority on it. That's my thoughts on it.
Thanks for saying that, because I was going with 4 anyway. But thanks. That's what you get for being the lead host. You can make these decisions. Right.
The most.
Yeah, the lead host with the master. Right, let's quickly look at the news. We're running over time. This is some of the headlines for this week. This is, where is it? Newsline. All right. Now, normally on Newsline, we would give you the top 5 headings. However, we're not going to do that this week. Here are a couple of the big news stories coming out over this past week. Kicking off with Cody Rhodes on his relationship with the Elite. Now, did you know, ladies and gentlemen, and just gentlemen, that Cody Rhodes still does keep in touch with members of the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, because they've used Being the Elite footage in the brand new Peacock documentary, which was officially unveiled last night. Cody confirmed that he does speak with his former co-workers and fairly regularly. He noted that without the Bucks graciously allowing Being the Elite footage to be used, it probably could not have happened. Rhodes said that even if he never shares a ring with the Bucks and Omega again, they're bonded for life due to what they did together. And I think, that's nice, because we heard a lot of controversy about the EVPs and their relationship when Rhodes left. It's good to know that they've, they should be proud. All Elite is a cracking company. They've done so well since 2019.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't get why there has to be all this speculation that because someone used to be a big part of something and has moved on to pastures new elsewhere, that there's this collected assumption among fans that there must be some sort of issue there, or they don't have contact with each other and things like that. I mean, we know there was a few frictionless issues here and there. They already said, they spoke up and they said, "Oh, that was ironed out ages ago and whatnot." And fair play. I'm glad that they've been allowed to WWE have been allowed to use footage from Being the Elite as part of the documentary, because it is such a significant part of the journey of the American Nightmare. I mean, absolutely. So I applaud them for that.
We'll have to wait and see how much, because this is on Peacock, not on the WWE Network. Well, there are other ways. Next month, believe it or not, next month it's August, and coming out. Oh no!
What?
Coming out of August is a pay-per-view called All In. A week before.
Never heard of it, Andy. Never heard of it.
If you check out
my birthday.
Shut up, Sam. UK superstar Saraya has said that she has her eyes set on Championship Gold at All In. But that would mean she would have to face Toni Storm or Kira Statlander. So they're not going to go after Toni Storm, are they? But I also can't see them putting Saraya in against the TBS Women's Championship and not going after the AW Women's Championship. It doesn't, not for the first run.
Do you not think that it would be a brilliant little touch? Toni Storm retains at All In, and Saraya gets the TBS. So then the outcast or outside, or whatever you want to call them, they both have the titles.
Do you know what? Well, yeah, that would be quite cool. But do you know what could also be quite a nice little thing is if they go to a WAW event which is Paige Soraya's home promotion, Ricky Knight. Tony Khan announces that there is a TNT Women's World Championship match taking place at an event, the WAW win. Soraya Knight, not Soraya from AEW, defeats Tony Storm for the
Mm,
AEW Women's
mm.
Championship, and then Soraya comes out, beats the mother up, gets the pin, and Soraya is the AEW Women's World Championship, and walks in
That would be
Wembley,
great.
to Wembley Stadium.
I just think for me that she would capture the gold at Wembley because of the reaction that she would probably get at Wembley for capturing the title there, as
Well,
opposed to arriving as champion.
bear
But
in mind, we are 6 weeks away from
mm,
All In. No matches have been announced yet. No matches have been
mm,
signed. Not even been predicted. The Outcasts and Britt Baker uh, feud seems to have sizzled out because of Jamie
mm,
Hayter's shoulder injury. She's out until October. Could we see a face turn by either Tony Storm or Soraya to set the match up
possibly,
at All In?
possibly. See, this is the thing. I'm still curious. I've got this suspicion that the day, I think that it's the day before when Progress have got their show, and it's called It's Clobbering Time, and because of the For the Love of Wrestling convention that took place back in April, with a lot of AEW stars there, and a lot of them were getting into a few little war of words and that with some of the Progress talent as well. I wouldn't be surprised if something goes down that's quite significant at that Progress show and carries over into All In. What I don't know, but I think there's going to be some surprises. I think there's going to be a few surprise appearances at that Progress show, and I do think it's going to affect, have some kind of influence over some of the card on All In.
Well, if it's called clobbering time, it would kind of insinuate that a certain Chicago native might be making an
Right.
appearance. Although I thought Progress were quite in bed with WWE still, so they.
Well, I don't know because no longer are they on the network. They've all that deal was all done,
Yeah, but I thought
and
they
that.
were
So I'm
also
not sure.
I thought they were also a feeder territory into WWE, but I might be wrong on that. Okay, last bit of news for this week. Bit of a controversial one. This one, gonna touch on it. TMZ. Good old TMZ
Mm.
reporting that former MLW middleweight champion Teddy Hart was arrested on June the 14th after being pulled over by cops for running a red light in Florida. After smelling burnt marijuana in Hart's car, which TMZ was so good to add was a 2022 Mustang, the officers
Shocker.
asked to search the vehicle and found multiple bags of pills and later tested positive for MDMA, which is otherwise known as ecstasy. Another bag was obtained that was later confirmed to be anabolic steroids. Hart was booked on 2 felony charges of possession of MDMA, possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. Fortunately for Teddy Hart, he was released on Saturday and still able to make a booking on Sunday. The 43-year-old star has been arrested numerous times over the years. It's not a funny story. How many more times is Teddy Hart going to get the hint? Between him and Jack Evans, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have nothing else to say on it, but it's just, it's got to stop. Um, you know, I mean, how many times we're hearing these stories coming out about the talent and that? And I mean, I can understand life on the road must be extremely difficult and that, but you've got to understand that when you're in the public eye and you are looked up to by kids and whatnot, you've got to still keep an example. If you've got private issues and demons, this is why there's a lot of support out there now. You know, you need to speak to someone. If it was just him doing it for the sake of doing it because he wanted to party hard or whatever, then no, that's not good. If anything, I wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't book him. Nothing, because it's bad. I wouldn't want someone like that getting into my locker room and potentially influencing some of the up and comers by saying this is the way. Of progressing and that, because it's not.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I
Mm.
mean, he is a legendary performer in so many different ways, but at the same point, he's also a complete nut job.
But it's true because the fact before he left MLW, wrestlers were leaving the dressing room. They'd get dressed quicker, like come to the dressing room way before they should have been doing, and be sitting somewhere else. They didn't want to be near him. That tells a lot.
It does.
You also look at the guy. If he hadn't gone down this path, what he would have become would have been amazing. I think he would have been WWE bound. He would have been amazing in that form of be a big star. But he's his own wrongdoing. He's a bit like nowadays Ultimate Bloody Warrior when it comes to going down his own wrong path. The what's it called the unbreakable Ultimate Warrior. They were saying, well, it's the unbreakable Teddy Hart.
The problem is, I think, it's a shame because Teddy Hart could have been a major player. Didn't happen, but we'll keep you updated on this story.
He's heading into his mid-40s now as well, so I mean, time's not on his side, and if he's going to waste the rest of whatever career he's got left, then it's going to happen now.
Well, we'll keep you updated on this story as it breaks over the next few weeks here at TSC. But we're going to start wrapping up the show. But before we do that, I want to draw your attention to something on screen right now. And that is this. Sam, take it away. Let's have a chat about Genesis.
PWD Genesis. Saturday, November 4th.
I was about to say, you don't even know the date of the show, mate.
Literally, guys, our tickets are live. They've been live since the 4th of July. We have an amazing main event already been announced. We've got NXT UK's Tate Mayfairs. We've got one of the best wrestlers in the UK scene, Kelly Six, versus in a triple threat against Nathan Angel, who is up and coming. He is already being touted for big things in the next year or two. You want to get yourself to St. Alden's Church Hall in Branksome, in Poole, on the 4th of November. Our doors open at 3 o'clock. Our first bell is at 4 o'clock. And why? Because we want to make it a family event. It's going to go out with a bang, bit like that weekend, because it being firework weekend. Adults are £10, children are £5, family are £25, which is a bargain. Tickets are now on sale through our QR code and also through the link on our socials. And also, if you want to contact me, I'm on Pro Wrestle Dorset at gmail.com. Send me a message if you're having problems getting tickets anyway. We'll get it sorted. We've also got an amazing tag team match to open the whole show, and that'll be Good Goth Almighty, who are a hard-hitting team, versus the Thrash Arts, who, can I just say, are pretty damn good. And they are from around these parts, and they are ready to party hard, but break some hearts. Trust me, this is hard-hitting tag team match. Next week, we have got our next match going to be announced. We've also got 2 massive matches. We've got the main event, which we just talked about, the triple threat, but we've also got a battle royal. More information will come out on future shows about the battle royal, but trust me, I'm getting a lump in my throat because I'm so proud. It's been my promotion that I'm growing, and I literally can't wait. So please buy your tickets, come along, and you will see some stars who are from all around this country who deserve to be shown to you guys at home. Please come along, because oh my God, I may just be saying it's been my promotion, but I know I mean it, and I know people will love it. They are all amazing, and they all deserve a chance.
From someone who's worked with one of these individuals you've just revealed, that I have to, if you're not familiar with him, you've got to see Goth Daddy Xander live. I tell you, this kid is absolutely brilliant. He is entertainment extraordinaire. Honestly, I love everything that I've ever seen him do. And that when he hits that high daddy bit, and that, cover your ears because it's high pitched. But yeah, what a treat. And that main event, can't wait for that.
Let's give you the details one more time. So if you would like to be a part of Genesis, you can be. All you need to do is head down to St. Aldham's Church in Branksome in Poole. It's BH138 6BD. I've got my glasses on. Saturday, November the 4th for Genesis. Tickets are £10 per adult, £5 for child, or £25 for a family of 4. Doors open at 3. Bell time is 4 o'clock. Now, if you want to know more about the talent that is going to be appearing on Genesis, then look no further, because staying on this show in the run-up to Genesis, we're going to be featuring talent interviews with some of the big performers from PWD. Now, I'm going to be a part of the show. I'm one of the commentary team. In fact, I'm the lead commentator. I'm the head commentator.
Here we go again.
I'm the boss. Joining me on commentary, we can now announce, is going to be former TSC podcast podfather alumni Lee Tyers, who has also done all the graphics for PWD, and I'm sure everybody will agree has done an absolute stellar job. Sam, Pro Wrestle Dorset is going to be cracking. It's only a few months away now. As a promoter, as we're beginning to wrap the show up, what does it mean for you to put on a show in your hometown, your home county?
So, I have been a wrestling fan since I can remember. My brothers were massive wrestling fans. I always dreamed to be a wrestler. That came to a halt at some point because of a shoulder injury and a heart condition. When I had my heart surgery back in 2016, my doctor literally said, you can't step foot in a ring wrestling. You can do anything else, because he was a wrestling fan himself, so it helped. But then was when I thought, right, at one day, I am going to open my own promotion, be it on my own or be it with other people. The start of this year was a bit bleak for a few reasons, personal reasons. And I turned to my wife and I said, I'm opening it. She was like, what do you mean? I'm starting with my promotion. She was like, go on then. And I started my promotion. And I literally have gone from there. It means so much. I'm from Poole. I'm born and bred in Poole. I was born in St. Mary's Hospital in Poole. I literally, all my family's there. I'm going to see my family this weekend. I'm probably going to get them to get involved with putting out posters. If you're in the Poole area and you want to help put out posters, contact me. Once we get them going, putting around, we're going to get them up everywhere. We are going to make sure we're going to make a massive footprint. We're going to be literally stomping mud holes every single and anywhere we like in Dorset. We are Pro Wrestle Dorset, and we can't wait for it. And I literally, it warms my cockles in the heart for it. And literally, I'm buzzing for it.
It's going to be great. I mean, I'm looking forward to being a part of it. I haven't been part of a wrestling promotion for about 5 years now, since UPW. But, what I will say to everyone who, if you're thinking about it, the amount of work that is going on behind the scenes to make sure that this is a cracking show. We've literally got a team pulling our hair out, making sure that graphics are done, that matches are done, that social media is looked after, that you've got different ways of getting content out there and information. All thanks to this man for bringing us together. So stay tuned.
A massive shout out. If anyone's listening to this show and has ever been interested in being a sponsor for a wrestling company, they can have their name over stuff, but wants to be a sponsor for a wrestling promotion, contact me at prowrestledorset@gmail.com, because we're going to make a big things. We have got big plans, and if you want to be involved in that way, you will be missing a heartbeat if you miss that opportunity. I'm just saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't think about it. Just do it.
We will put all of the contact details for Sam, for Pro Wrestle Dorset, for the tickets in the narrative, both here on YouTube and on the archive. That's it for us. We are done, just under the 2-hour mark. What did you think of the new format? Did you enjoy it? Was it good? Did you like the comments? Did you agree with the matches that we picked? Did you agree with the commentary? We haven't done any commentary. Did you agree with the match scores that we gave Slammiversary? Let us know on social media. You can do that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and right here on YouTube at TSC Wrestling Podcast. I've got a question for all of you. In fact, I've got a request, and I've got a massive request, and it's a bit of a beg, and I'm going to beg it. Please comment and like our videos. Like, comment, and share. We want to get a conversation going with you guys, and we want your voices to be heard on the show. So if you've got a burning question or a burning comment about this edition of the podcast, what we've said, do you agree or disagree? Let us know, and we will use them going forward. Just please keep them clean. You can tweet us at TSC Wrestling Pod, or you could do the old-fashioned email, which is squaredcirclepodcast2022@gmail.com or studio@squaredcirclepodcast.com. You can contact us on that way. If you're listening to us, watching us on YouTube, and you're going, do you know what? I want to listen to the dulcet tones of these three in my ears. Well, you can do. You can listen to the podcast, and you can subscribe on Google, Amazon, Spotify, Apple, all other main podcast providers. Please do. And if you subscribe on Apple, again, please leave us a review. A 5-star, it really does help us go up the ratings and bring you those guests. And that's it for us.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. We're back. We'll be back next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday. Not sure yet. Really depends on a lot of different factors. Last comment, Stefan. Literally last word. 60 seconds on the clock goes now.
Yeah, again, as I said, my retirement, it sucks and that, but you'll still get me on commentary. So yeah, tune in and definitely get down to Pro Wrestle Dorset and actually finally hear Andy having to put up with Kieran Cross and that, because if Andy can put up with me, he can't deal with Cross. So get your tickets, support PWD, and we'll see you in November.
Sam, last words?
All I can say is we're 3 dudes with chatitude. It's been too sweet.
That's a new t-shirt. I need to get Lee to make up some t-shirts. For me, thanks for joining us. As always, great show. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking with us over the past couple of weeks. Thanks to subscribers on YouTube. We've shot up by about 30 new subscribers in the space of a few days. Thank you so much. Really, genuinely appreciate it. We will see you next week. Until then, we will see you at the matches. Take care. Good night for now.